All right. How you doing, Coach Charles?
Hey, what's going on, Coach Todd?
Hey, it's good to see you. It's good to be with VA Claims Insider. We're getting ready to get a bunch of vets on here. We're going to cover a lot of great information. We'll get started here in a few minutes. But happy Wednesday, veterans. And thanks for spending some time with us today. And before we get started with today's topic, sound off in the comments and we will get to you. We've got a lot of information to cover today, but what I like to do is to say, let us know where you're turning in from, what branch and years did you serve. I know some people are probably trying to get on here right now, but I'll go ahead, Coach Charles, and start. We're going to start here, in the next 5 minutes, but if people can comment and what's going on with them, what branch you served in, maybe when you were in where you served. I was a client here, that Coach Charles, and I worked with a great coach. I was in from 99 to 08, United States Navy, 3 back-to-back tours after 9/11, and then did some instructor duty. But was also a client here. And if people want to chime in and speak on the comments about where you're from, we're going to do our best to go through everything, but we got a lot of content to cover. A lot of changes happening in the VA, Coach Charles. A lot of changes. And so yeah, so if you're here today or you're checking in with us, we're going to do our best to let you know exactly what's going on. But I'm super excited to be here today and be here with Coach Charles. So very, very happy to have you, Coach Charles. Do you want to
Yes. Introduce myself a little bit here.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like your
here.
branch and all the things, right? I mean, we're all family here. Like we might, not be Navy. We might be Army. We might be Marines. We might be Air Force. We might be Coast Guard. We might be some other type of situation that falls into this situation. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Coach Charles Harris here. Served in the Army from 1992 to 2012. And basically, what brought me here to VACI, I tell you, I had a buddy of mine, his wife, we're really good friends, and she was telling me about the program here that she was working. Her name is Coach Rachel Seabury. Told me about how VA Claims Insider are with the veterans in the beginning, as well as through the claim and even after the claim. And that just sparked my interest. I love helping veterans, been helping vets ever since 2012 when I got out. And so this gave me a bigger platform to be able to do those type of things and help veterans and coach and actually educate our veterans on how to navigate that VA claims system. So definitely. And I look at in the comments here, looks like we got some folks chiming in from where they're from.
Yeah, we got like Air Force, we got Marines, we got Army. I'm waiting to see some of my Navy people, but I love all of you. Some good stuff. So Charles, so you were talking about like 92 to you being in, so you did some time. What one of the questions we have is like, what brought you to work in to VACI as a veteran coach? I'm going to tell my story real quick, and we're going to roll right into this, okay? But for me, my why and what I do as a veteran coach, I was a client here. I served on 3 combat tours, and everyone's story is different. None of that matters, but just so you know what my why is, I wanted to get the rating I deserved, and I got a coach, and had a rating, but then realized I was underrated, and I got a lot of help. And one of the things I'm super passionate about is making sure, everyone has the questions to what they need, and being a client here and then getting to be a representative. My background's healthcare. Very happy to be here, but I love what I do here because there's a lot of questions a lot of veterans have, and we want to do our best to educate and empower them in what we're doing. You know,
All
what
right, and we got
about you,
just a couple
brother?
of people. Oh, definitely, just a couple of people. I see you guys in the comments. You got see here, Greg and Darlene Boyd, Marines, 84 to 94, Desert Storm, 80% currently. Hey, welcome, welcome. Uh,
Yes, absolutely. Welcome everyone.
got a
Coach
little
Charles,
more.
you feel like just giving the disclaimer real quick, and then
Oh,
we'll go ahead
definitely,
and roll into
definitely.
this. We're gonna hopefully have some time here at the end, but we do have a lot of great content to go into, but we do have to do some disclaimers first. We're
All
gonna
right.
give the presentation, and then looking forward to Q&A.
All right, go ahead with this disclaimer. We are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits and who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions, otherwise known as IMOs, for a wide range of disability conditions. Go ahead, take it away, Todd. Talk about that opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the opportunities here are definitely, when this company started, Brian Reese is our founder, and many of you may or may not have seen some of his videos. He's a very energetic guy, but he's very passionate about what we're doing. And what we're talking about today is our strategy, our education. We're going to talk about medical evidence. You're going to have an opportunity to do one-on-one coaching with your coach, strategy sessions, your claim submissions, the CMP exam educations. But really, this is vets helping vets overall, and we want to make sure that you have the education and empowerment to be able to be prepared for your CNP exam. And Coach Charles, I've been through this before. And when I didn't have a coach, I'll just give you full transparency. Sometimes I knew the correct things because I knew what I knew. And other times I was like, man, I could really use a little coaching here or education. And very, very happy to be here. We've got a ton of opportunities, right? We've got live classes via Zoom. You can go to vaci1.com. That's vaci01e.com. That'll be in your insider portal if you sign up. And let me tell you something too. If you have not signed up yet and you're just here and you're trying to investigate for a discovery call, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a wonderful opportunity. And if you want Coach Charles or I to be your coach, we're more than happy to help. They'll drop some links on here that we can talk about. But if you're already a client, glad to have you. If you're thinking about it and you're trying to figure out some information, welcome, family. It's good to see you, my fellow vets. We've got so many things, right? So we've got these Zoom classes. I mean, on average, 3 times a day. We've got coffee with the coaches in the morning. We've got mental health exam education. We've got medical exam education. And that discovery call is also something that If you're not sure and you just want to contact us and ask us what's going on, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to sign up for that discovery call with no obligation. And as far as that goes, Charles,
Yeah.
like if people want to learn more, what would you tell them?
Hey, first of all, definitely, if you want to know more, schedule that free. And I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but schedule that free discovery call and talk with one of our team members by going to vaclaims.help, because hey, that call is waiting on you, and that could to start you on a good path. Working with a team of professionals that know the ins and out of that VA claims process. Okay. Now, just to let you know, just jumping straight into the topic of today, there are a huge VA disability changes. They're coming. Okay, they're coming this year regarding how the VA reviews, and it's regarding how the VA reviews and rates some conditions. Okay, the exact implementation date, they aren't known yet. However, we're thinking more or less sometime around the summer or fall of 2024 is our best guess. Okay, what does this mean for you? Right, get your claims, your VA claims in ASAP. Okay, why? Why? Because we think that you want to get rated under the old criteria, which in our opinion is generally more favorable for you. Okay, which could result in a higher VA rating and more tax-free compensation. Okay, pro tip. All right, just pro tip: if you already have a VA rating for one of these conditions that we're talking about, you are grandfathered in under the old rating system. These changes will not affect your current VA rating. Okay, that's just a pro tip.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Coach Charles. And those VA major mental health rating changes, like you said, they're coming in 2024, but we don't necessarily know the exact, but we have an idea. And as information comes in, we are going to definitely update. And you want to get with your coach, do a discovery call, and check in and see what the changes are and what is happening to you. And as a client here and someone that has been through this process, the VA has proposed to adopt a new evaluation criteria that more accurately captures the occupational impairment caused by mental disabilities, and it provides adequate compensation for the earnings and losses experienced by all of us veterans with service connected mental disorders, right? So the VA says, quote, the new criterion should generally lead to more generous compensation for veterans than the current rating formula, unquote. Okay, so what does that mean? So here's what I think. I think the changes will allow for higher ratings for mental health conditions with less stringent requirements. And we're talking more about like the 70 and 100% rating. And the rating criteria and a required minimum rating of 10% for any diagnosed mental health condition. Okay. So the 0% for the mental health rating has been removed. And Charles, when Coach Charles, when I'm talking about this with those VA mental health changes, you know, one of those questions is, well, when will these changes become official?
Good question. Good question. Now, that exact implementation date is not known. However, summer 2024 is our best guess. Also, note that once the VA has finalized these proposed changes, there is a 60-day cooling off period before changes take effect. Okay. What does this mean for you? Get your claims in now. Okay. Get your claims in now. Pro tip for this again, and I say this again, another pro tip, right? If you already have a VA rating for mental health, you are grandfathered in under the old rating system. These new updates will not impact your current rating. Okay. Will not impact. And I'll say that again. If you are already If you already have a VA rating for mental health, you are grandfathered in under the old rating system. These new updates will not impact your current rating. All right. Now let's talk about those VA rating changes. Okay, the new changes that's going down. The general rating formula for mental disorders contains 5 domains related to function. Number one, cognition. Number two, interpersonal interactions and relationships. Number three, task completion and life activities. All right. And then four, navigating environments. And then the fifth one is self care. Now, let's talk about that criteria for each of those domains. Okay. The general rating formula for mental health disorders provides criteria for each domain for levels of function ranging from 0 to 4 as appropriate. The highest level of impairment, a score of 4, okay, signifies total. And the lowest level of impairment, a score of 0, signifies no difficulties. All right. The VA evaluates based on the level of impairment in each domain and the number of affected domains as follows. Level 4 in 1 or more domains, or level 3 in 2 or more domains, gets you that 100% disability rating. All right. Level 3 in 1 domain or level 2 in 2 or more domains puts you at the 70% disability rating. All right. Level 2 in 1 domain puts you at 50% disability rating. And then level 1 in 2 or more domains puts you at 30% disability rating. And the minimum rating, because remember, the zero's gone away, right? The zero's gone away. The minimum rating is 10% disability rating. All right. And so that is the way that the new rating scale goes as far as the disability ratings and how the VA will rate you. All right. So just now, let's go ahead and open up go to some of these questions that we have going over here.
And if you don't mind, Coach Charles, I want to recap what some of the things you said. And I'm with you. We want to get to as many questions as we can. If we cannot get to everyone's questions, we will continue to follow up on those questions. And please get with your coach and talk about these changes and things like that. But to recap a little bit what you're talking about, Coach Charles, being able to get these things in now before these proposed changes are happening is super important. And, again, we believe this is advantageous to you to do so. And I had to go through this 3 times myself personally, just so everyone knows. And normally I don't share that information, but this is really pertinent to this conversation. But getting with your coach and going through this process and with recap changes that the VA makes, one of the things is, that strategy session, right? And being able to have that discovery call and getting with your coach and going over all the resources and what is going to help you, because they do those 31 mental health symptoms, and they're talking about severity, duration, and frequency, how they're affecting you occupationally and socially, and you go through your claim submission, and then you start talking about that C&P preparation for yourself as a veteran, and then having that C&P education and using those resources. We have spent a lot of time to go through all these different things that the VA is asking of the veteran, and to make sure that you feel empowered and educated. That's what we're really talking about here. And I love what you said, Coach Charles, because those different changes and what's going on. If you understand what the VA is asking of you, and you're getting with your coach and you're having that discovery call, excuse me, that strategy session, you're preparing yourself for the rating you deserve, and you are allowing yourself to go through that process and get what you deserve. Okay. um, Again, we've got the live classes by Zoom 3 times a day. We've got the coffee with the coaches. We've got the Mental Health Monday, the CMP education. We've got, the elite membership, and you've got a Q&A and access there. And then one thing I wanted to talk about, and Coach Charles, I know we're going to do Q&A, but one thing I'm really excited about, and I've actually personally used this too, is Brian's book, You Deserve It. And he's got a second edition that's now available, right? And you can get it on Amazon today if you want. But also, you could also download a free copy of the book by going to youdeserveitfree.com. Okay. And also, if you are a member, you can also download it that way. But one of these things that I think is really important is that discovery call. And we are 100% electronic and education based, and we are here to help you. Everyone's got their different thing. There's no cookie cutter case here, right, Coach Charles? It's one of those things where, talk to us, let us know what's going on with you. See if we can help you. If we can, we will, and we'll be transparent with you. We're definitely going to do everything with integrity, morally, ethically, legally. But one of the things I wanted to ask you before we get into Q&A, Coach Charles, is like those discovery calls. Like if you want to learn more and you want to schedule a free discovery call and talk to one of our team members, by going into vaclaims.help,
Definitely.
But what are your thoughts on that? I did that as well, and it helped me out a lot.
Yes, yes. I mean, that is the way to go in. If you really want to sign up with a coach, and you want that expert help in navigating that VA claims journey, definitely you want to go to vaclaims.help and get yourself a discovery call. Our ambassadors are just waiting and have that conversation with you, and then transfer you on to a actual coach. This is what I live for. I get to talk to veterans every day. That's one of my other whys, and helping you navigate and teaching you and educating you about the VA's claims process. All of our coaches are on standby waiting for those new veterans to come on through, as well as work with the ones that are already here. Hey, we always say, welcome home. This is where it's at. Veterans helping veterans. It gets no better than that, I tell you.
100%.
Definitely.
That is solid. And again, that discovery call, check in with us. We've got so many resources. We can get into more on the Q&A and things of that nature, but really appreciate seeing all the comments and everyone's that's here. We should start maybe looking at some of these questions.
Definitely.
I see all these.
I got one from Tori Gully. That you've asked a good question there. And once again, I'll reiterate and I'll let you guys know. Okay, go to vaclaims.help. He wants to know, they want to know, how can I get a coach? Okay, how can I get a coach? You go to that vaclaims.help and you schedule yourself one of those discovery calls, and then one of our wonderful ambassadors will be chatting with you and bring you bring you in with that call right there. Okay, definitely.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's great. And I look forward to talking to people, and like I said, with integrity and what we do, um, let's have an open conversation. I mean, you're talking with a veteran coach, and you got some stuff going on, and a lot of times, Coach Charles, like I see people go, well, this was the culture, and now this is happening. It doesn't matter, and there's no late time. There's no date or expiration date of when you can file one of these claims. So those discovery calls, um, they're amazing, because not only are you talking about that, but other things might open up, and there could be secondary claims or other presumptive conditions depending on what area you served and where you were and things of that nature, right? So that's a great question. I got one from Gabriella, and she said her case with HLR for SMC. What are the odds that my appeal will get overturned? Two separate examiners filled out. It looks like ANA stating I need help with daily activities was denied, but in HLR now. If you want to, Coach Charles, you can hit on that, but I think that's a great question, because I'm seeing a lot of times medical evidence wins claims. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. And just in case the VA makes a mistake, that medical evidence is going to help you through that HLR appeal. And if you want to comment on that, Coach Charles, please feel free. But that's why I think that medical evidence is so important. We do have a preferred provider network with Telemedica. They are not associated with us in the same as like we're the same company, but they do specialize in working with veterans. And a lot of times I see major success, including myself, going through that process where you can get an independent medical opinion and get you what you need. But as far as the HLR's higher level reviews, if the VA says there's not something correct with what they need, that is also an opportunity with Telemedica. But if you have anything to add to that,
Yeah,
Coach
definitely.
please.
Yeah. So, and just like you said before, medical evidence wins claims. And how do you get to that medical evidence? How do you even get introduced to a company like Telemedica? That discovery call starts the whole process, right? Right. They get that discovery call taken care of. VA claims.help and then schedule one with one of our ambassadors, and we'll definitely put you in the right direction. Marry you up with a coach and get your process started, and introduce the actual elite program. Okay. Like I said, we use a strategy. We use strategy, education, and medical evidence, the SIM method here at VA Claims Insider. And so that right there in itself will be able to educate and help you. Now, the HLR process, with that question, with that HLR process, that that right there is a second chance for another set of eyes to look at that. One step higher than the first adjudicator that checked it out, grader that looked at it before. So don't lose hope there, but definitely schedule that discovery call so that you can get a coach and get some one-on-one guidance with your situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we got, looking in the questions, I got one from Podling Don. Okay. How hard is it to get rated higher? All right. I'm going to have to go back to what we were talking about before, how we do things here at VA Claims Insider, right? We introduced that SIM method to you with strategy, education, medical evidence. It starts with getting that diagnosis, right? Of course, you got to have that. You got to have that in-service stressor event. Okay. And then what? You got to have that nexus letter. And sometimes you don't have that in hand. So guess what? We're going to introduce a company called Telemedica, right? They're their own company. However, they specialize in getting that medical evidence for for the veteran to help them when they're claimed, right, in that process. Definitely, you want to start off by getting that discovery call and getting yourself a coach.
Yeah, and Coach Charles, like with that, right? There's also probably, excuse me, there's probably people on the phone that are already service connected. And like with those new rule changes, you don't have to establish that service connection. But as far as increase, when they're proposing those changes, you want to get that in as soon as possible, right? And at the end of the day, there's a difference between if you're already service connected going for an increase and then if you're establishing a new claim. And so at the end of the day, if you're going for an increase, again, what I've said and what Coach Charles said is being able to have continuity of care, having medical evidence that will help, but also having that strategy session, that discovery call with your coach, going through the process and understanding severity, duration, frequency of symptoms, how they affect you occupationally, how they affect you socially. All those things come into play. And also making sure that you're getting the care you need and the treatment you need. And while you do that, and we care very much about you, you're also establishing additional medical evidence for those increases. So when you look at that severity, duration, and frequency of those symptoms, let's say you're at a 10 or 30%, but you're thinking you should be at a 50 or 70 or maybe even 100. You got to speak on those symptoms, because if you don't, the medical evidence isn't going to be there, and then you're not going to get the rating you deserve. So being able to work with your coach on that strategy session, going through this process and being able to exemplify things that occur is definitely going to help you. And then again, if you need additional resources and you don't have a community provider or someone at the VA that's not going to write that nexus letter for you, so on and so forth, we do have resources for you, like Telemedica, that specialize in working with veterans and making sure you're getting the medical documentation that you need.
Definitely, Todd. And let me move on to that next question here. We got a question here, and it looks like we have multiple questions with this same subject here, right? And I'm gonna go with Aaron Washburn. Aaron Washburn. Okay, he says, how will current claims be processed, handled? How in process be handled? How? Let me start that over. How will current claims in process be handled? What if claim is resolved before changes are posted? Okay, the way it works, and I'm gonna use GERD as an example. Okay, GERD changes on May the 19th. Okay, if you get your claim in, and that's why you got to get your claim in now. If you get your claim in before May the 19th, you're looking at being rated under the old rating system. All right. Anything after that, you can be being rated under the new system. Now, if it's not decided on by May 19th, then the VA will look at both ways, and whichever benefits the veteran the best. Right. And that's how that will work. And I see several questions to that effect. I want to say Chris Castins had the same one in there. Even when you are scheduled for a reevaluation, are you still grandfathered in under the old rating system, right? And so, like I said, it's all about that implementation date. And we put that, we don't know the actual implementation date for mental health conditions. However, we're projecting right around that the summertime for those changes. So get your claim in now. Schedule yourself a discovery call. Okay. Go to VA. Let me see, what was that? Go to VA claims help. Okay. You want to go ahead and schedule that discovery call so that you can get assigned a coach. You can start moving. You want to get those claims in now. Those changes are coming. They're not going to slow down coming. Like I said, everybody already seen the actual implementation date for GERD. So it's an election year. Listen, it could happen sooner than later, right? So get your claims in.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach Charles. We got another great question from Chantel Aaliyah. I hope I say that correctly. Where can we go to read more about the changes? So, as soon as we know, we have all sorts of resources, just like we are on FaceTime or Facebook right now on YouTube, vaclaimsinsider.com. There are a ton of videos there as well. But as soon as we know, we're definitely going to disseminate that information to all of you. So we are a big fan of checking in early and checking in often with coaches and coordinators that are on your team, and we will continue to add resources as we know. These are proposed changes. This is the information we know right now. And as soon as we know more, we will absolutely share that information as it comes out. But your resources with our videos and our website, and with your coaches especially, check in early, check in often, because stuff is changing all the time. And so we're constantly moving with this rolling ball here, and making sure we're getting the information out as soon as we can. And I hope that answered your question, but that's a great question, because we are working with the way the VA is working. And as soon as we know, we're going to share that information with you in every capacity that we can. Okay.
Definitely. Definitely. Got another question in here. Rocky Lambert. Okay. Rocky says, I just had my CMP exam, right? Which system will I be rated under? Right now, Rocky, you're currently, independent on the actual condition, right? Well, actually, you're looking at being rated under the old criteria, okay? The old rating system right now. Implementation dates, like I said, for the mental health conditions, that's sometime in the summer, right? Plus, there's a 60 day cooling off period for that too, right? So right now, if you're in the system right now, you're still under the old rating criteria. Okay. You want to add anything to that, Todd?
Oh no, I'm good. I think that's great. I mean, that's absolutely correct. And I got another one if you're ready. Faye Moses, what about lost records per archives? Great question. And again, if we miss some questions here, we're going to follow back and answer questions. And please get with your coach. We're going to do the best we can to make sure we're answering everything and as many people as we can. But yeah, lost records, it happens. I'm working with a client right now who's got that issue. And again, if you get with your coach, there are resources on your dashboard and your onboarding and strategy, and there are steps to take and links where you can actually get records and things from the archives that you need. Depending on your personal situation and what you need, there might be some extra steps to take. Everyone's unique, and that's what I love about what we do is we're going to look at you individually and communicate with your coach to see exactly what resources you need and what the best strategy is for you. But there are resources on there when you get with your coach to do that, to request records if you need them. Okay.
And we have another question here. Looks say we got Debbie and Teresa. All right. She says, I am living with bipolar disorder, and the changes sound like they would benefit me greatly. I'm currently at 80%. I am employed, and I'm wondering why trying to get to 100% PNT under current rating. Okay. So I'm not, and every situation, every VA claim is different. Every veteran is different. Okay, definitely you want to if you do not have a coach right now, you definitely will want to reach out and do a discovery call. Go to vaclaim.help and and definitely schedule a discovery call and get your coach. And if you do have a coach, you definitely want to get on your coach's calendar and have that conversation to see if there's any room to increase your current rating as far as mental health or whichever rating. Okay, definitely want to have that conversation with an expert, and your coach will be waiting and happy that you jumped on that calendar and had that conversation. Okay.
Yeah, and Coach Charles, with that, I mean, like depending on what your situation is, Debbie, and other people that might be wondering, um, why trying to get to 100% P&T under the current rating? First of all, it's about you getting the rating you deserve and the care you need. I mean, that's just 100% integrity, and where that's part of my why, you know. But you know, being able to speak on being uncomfortably vulnerable and, you know, again, severity, duration, and frequency of symptoms, how they affect you occupationally and socially. The VA, with those new changes that they're talking about, and the different percentages, they follow a rating table. It's called the CFR 38 Part 4 Code of Federal Regulations. And it's not like you can take an X-ray and you broke like a bone, and they can see that information. This is about, probably for some of us, we didn't go and talk about these things when we were in, and now it can feel counterintuitive or like a paradox for some of us, where now we're being uncomfortably vulnerable and sharing these things. And I kind of look at it like an X-ray. If it doesn't come out of your mouth and you're not uncomfortably vulnerable on that severity, duration, frequency of your symptoms and how it affects you, how is the VA going to know how to rate you properly? And if you can get there with your coach, again, VA claims .help and a discovery call, check it out. And we have tons of resources to have that discussion with you, because a lot of us realize once we go through that process that there's really something there, and it's important to discover that. I'm a big fan of it. Coach Charles, I've got a good one from Shanna Rathbone. I hope I said that name right. What happens if you are already 100% permanent and total, or it's permanent and total, but anyway, TMP, P&T, permanent and total, with 70% in mental health, but have since been diagnosed with breast cancer, brain tumor resulting in seizures? Can that 100% actually be increased? If you'd like to comment on that, go ahead. I'm happy to add something as well.
Well, actually, at the 100% permanent and total, that is your max rating right there. Okay. There are SMCs or other things, but we always encourage our veterans, once you reach that 100% permanent total, don't touch that claim again. Don't open that up again. Now, you know, and that's just my take on that.
Yeah, and so if you're 100% permanent and total, and when you say SMCs, for those of you that don't know what that means, Sierra, Mike, Charlie, special monthly compensation, there could be additional things on top of your 100%, and you can definitely talk with your coach about that too. But if you're 100% permanent and total and you have anything else going on, you're covered through the VA. So, you know, the recommendation is get with your coach. And if you do have those SMCs and there's additional things to add, it may make sense for your case. But once you're 100% permanent and total, even if you got other service connections and things that happen to you, once you get to that point, you're covered. But also, Coach Charles, like one of the important things that I always think about is it's about you getting the rating you deserve, nothing more, nothing less, right? So if you end up at 30%, 10%, 70%, 100%. It's about you serving and getting the rating you deserve. But there are special monthly compensations on top of what you may have going on that could be very helpful.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. And going next into the comments with the questions, I got one here from Rick Ocho. Rick Ocho. Yeah, it says, if you complete an intent to file before these changes take effect, will these claims be rated under the old VA rating system? Okay. Now, the one key thing to remember is this: get your claims in now, right? Get them in now. Get that discovery call. Let's get assigned a coach. Let's get moving because the changes are coming. Key thing to remember though, they have to be in before the implementation date. Okay. And right now, we don't know, we got a roundabout idea that around the summertime of 2024 that those changes will take effect, the implementation date. And then there's a 60-day cooling off period, right? But if you do your intent to file, it's just an intent to file. That claim must be submitted by the implementation date. All right, to be considered for the old rating. Okay. Hope that answers your question. All right.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too that has come up, Coach Charles, where there's so many different things going on with the VA. That's actually an outstanding question, and I second what you're saying by backing up, getting your claim in now, and making sure you have that medical evidence, because we can't dictate or know exactly when it's going to happen. So anything that you get in now, it's not just an intent to file, it's actually putting your claim in because you want to stick to the rules that everyone is aware of, because they may change something. And if they do, don't lose out on the rating you deserve. But if there's a situation that you're in and you got to gather more information or medical evidence, things like that, again, check in early, checking often with your coach and figure that out.
Yeah, thank you. I got a question here, and I hope we answered your question, Rick. Another question here from Mike Lewis. All right, Mike Lewis. Mike says, if I have 70% rating for adjustment disorder with mixed anxiety and depressed mood, claimed as anxiety and depression, is a secondary mood disorder claim appropriate? Well, I tell you, dude, I just want you to know that if you don't have a coach right now, go straight to that discovery. Go straight to VA claims help. Get you that. Talk to one of our wonderful ambassadors and get you that coach, because we love this question, right? We love all questions. Yeah. Definitely, you want to know one thing for sure. You can only have one rating for mental health. So putting in another mental health claim after you've already been rated, no, it's not appropriate. You can only have one rating for mental health. There are many conditions, mental health conditions under that umbrella. However, one disability rating for mental health. Okay, and I hope I've answered your question, Mike Lewis.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because Coach Charles, because the VA, it could be PTSD, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be a numerous amount of different things. And again, to go back to what we were talking about, it's all going to come down to those 31 mental health symptoms and that severity, duration, and frequency of those symptoms and how it can affect you occupationally and socially. So, like if you got a rating for PTSD, but you also have depression, that's going to fall under one claim. And what the VA calls that is pyramiding. So you can only do one claim under mental health, but at the end of the day, that severity, duration, frequency, like I was just talking about, that's what it comes down to, and that's what your coach is asking. Hey, Coach Charles, if you don't mind, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, and I've got it here too. But Felipe is asking to please repeat the 5 criteria for those mental health issues and how those changes are happening. And I think that's a great question. And like Coach Charles was saying before, they're changing that where there's not going to be a 0% rating anymore, but there's still a 10, 30, 50, 70, and 100% rating. And so what they're going to do, and if you want to chime in here, Coach Charles, please
Oh,
do.
yeah, I got it.
Yep.
Definitely. I don't mind going over that again. And just want to let everybody know we're down to the last 9 minutes, so get your questions in. And if we haven't gotten to your questions, don't worry. We'll continue to go down the list and answer those questions in the chat. So just to go over again, the general rating formula for mental disorders contains 5 domains related to function, all right, that are cognition, interpersonal interactions and relationships, task completion and life activities, navigating environments, and self-care. Those are the 5 domains. Now, let's talk about that criteria for each of those domains. Okay, the general rating formula for mental health disorder provide criteria for each domain for levels of function ranging from 0 to 4 as appropriate. All right, the highest level of impairment, a score of 4, signifies total. Right, and the lowest level of impairment, a score of 0, signifies no difficulties. All right. Now, the VA evaluates based on the level of impairment in each domain and the number of affected domains as follows. Level 4 in 1 or more domains, or level 3 in 2 or more domains, is rated at 100% disability. Okay. Level 3 in 1 domain, or level 2 in 2 or more domains, is 70% disability. Okay. And level 2 in 1 domain is 50% disability. Okay. Then level 1 in 2 or more domains is 30%. And then the final one is the minimum rating is 10%, right? And there's no more 0% going forward once these changes are implemented. So 10, 30, 50, 70, and 100 are your rating are your rating criteria. Okay.
Yep.
Are your ratings that you receive with those domains. And I hope I answered your question with that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, these are all like outstanding questions. And I'm trying to get as many in as we can. I know you are too, Coach Charles. I got one from Kenneth Dennis. I'm 80% currently on TDIU. I'm trying to get to 100 scheduled so I can work. Should I file for the increase now or wait until the new changes go into the effect? I think that's a great question, and we're going right back to what we've been saying this whole hour. Get with your coach and get that conversation going. High level, I would say get every rating you can get that you deserve, just in case there are certain factors in your life that could affect you one way or the other. As far as specifically answering, it's going to be depending on what your personal situation is. But Kenneth, that is a great question. And I would get with your coach on that, because depending on what your situation is going to determine what the best strategy for you is. But it sounds like you got a few options on the table, and I appreciate you asking that, because that's a great question. But please get with your coach and figure that out, because it really depends on what your situation is, and breaking that down.
And if you don't have a coach, go ahead and go to vaclaims.help and get yourself a discovery call.
I think too, like if you want to work with Coach Charles or me, if you look on the chat, there's links there too. We'd be happy to help you.
Definitely.
That'd be great too. But all the coaches here are great, and they'll do a good job helping you. I got another one, Coach Charles. Ricky Cortez. I'm 90%, but getting paid at 100%. I'm unemployed. How can I get 100% number only, not money? Should I leave it alone? 21 years U.S. Army. Thanks for your service, brother. Glad to hear that question, Ricky. If you want to comment on that, Coach Charles, feel free. But again, people are at different situations depending on what's going on with them, right?
Definitely. I mean, you could be TDIU, or I'm not sure, it doesn't say that in the question. However, you would definitely want to get with a coach and find out. Everybody, like Coach Todd said, everybody's situation is different, okay? And if you don't have a coach, get you a discovery call, and then talk with one of our wonderful ambassadors and get married up with a coach, because you have some valid questions here, right? Should you move forward? Should you stay where you are?
Yeah.
Remove the fog and get direct answers from a coach. Yeah.
I love how you just said that. Remove the fog, right? Because it's just getting clarity and having that discovery call and seeing where you're at. I mean, we're vets, you and me, Coach Charles, and it's one of those things where sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and just getting some information to allow you to make a better decision on your strategy would help. But there are pros and cons when you talk TDIU and mental health and different things like that. And again, it's not a cookie cutter thing. It's a very unique thing depending on what each veteran is going through,
Definitely.
Yeah.
We got one more question. We got time for one more question. A couple of more minutes in here. And I see one in here from Sherry Moonhan. Very last question, Sherry Moonhan. All right. Will veterans under the old ratings criteria for PTSD see any reduction? All right. And that goes back to what I said before, right? If you have a rating prior to that implementation date, you for mental health disorder, you are grandfathered in with that rating. Okay. So just because it gets implemented and you have PTSD, that doesn't change the situation. Once you receive that rating before the implementation date, you are under the old system, the old rating system, and it is grandfathered in, and it will not change unless you go back in and actually try to get an increase. Okay. Then you're looking at, depending on whether you get it in before the implementation date or after the implementation date, which that would change my answer, as I stated before. Okay, definitely. And I hope that answers your question, Sherry. I hope that answers your questions. And hey, enjoyed actually having these conversations with everybody. It's been a wonderful time chatting. Hopefully that I got a chance to talk to we answered questions like we should have. You guys are great, and you continue to look at the chat because the answers will be coming to your questions as well.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Charles and all our fellow vets and anyone else that's interested in these things. So glad you had choices today and you spent this last hour with us, and that means a lot. And again, VA claims .help and get a discovery call. Check in with us. We're happy to help. And love you, fam. You all are great. Thanks for serving. Appreciate you.